between those two, so still a speedy man in the slot. I'm sure the quarterback will love to have that at their disposal. Another new receiver is Isaac Mueller, 5'9", 235. He can play running back, linebacker, wherever you want to put him, he's good to go. He did not get to play last week. He was our second cameraman running our high-definition broadcast, or not necessarily broadcast. We'll have that up on YouTube soon. He was running the camera for that, and he has worked his way up the ladder to a starting role this week, and he is ready to go wherever they need him. He'll go in. And more signings: Kenneth Patton, a linebacker and running back; Joshua Scales, a running back and defensive lineman; and Chris Jones, who did not play against the Energy either. Team owners wanted to kind of redshirt him for a game so we could get a feel of arena and how it works. He's ready to go now, and he is extremely anxious to play. And a lot of players, Isaac in particular, who we know drove about 5 hours to get here, they're not going to go without at least getting on that field in pads and playing a quarter of football. So you're going to see a game, or at least part of a game, at some point. When, we're not sure, but this is a good sign. We've got some Cowboys heading into what appears to be their locker room over there. I'm not entirely sure. If we can pan over there, that'd be great. And you can see them kind of filtering in now, or what's left of the crowd that did filter in. Quan Bristol, number 5 there, former Dragons player. I'm sure you might recognize him if you followed us for the past 2 years. Lots of former Dragons players between these two teams. For the most part, they exist pretty much as they did. The Cowboys exist pretty much as the second-year Dragons did. Most of the players from that team are back with this one, and most of the players from the Dragons' first year are with the Predators. It's a strange coincidence, really. There's not much logic to it. It's just, that's how the dice fell, and everybody seems ready to go. I think we're only waiting on the referees right now. And, right, it looks like I've just been informed that our microphone was off, so I get to go over the story again and try and go a little bit faster in case they start the game on us. But bottom line, the camera crew arrived, Luke Ruff, myself, Bob, and Daniel Ruff. We arrived here at around 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, and the field was still in the process of getting put down. They had most of the walls up, but the right end zone was still a work in progress, and they got that up just fine. But unfortunately, we don't have a back end zone for one reason or another. And so when the referees came here and saw that they didn't have a back end zone, they said that it was too dangerous and said that they weren't going to officiate the game, which would have rendered it a forfeit win for the Predators. But because a lot of the players on both rosters drove a very, very long way to play this game, they were not going to go home without playing some football. So in the past half hour since the game was informally canceled, we have gone from it being canceled to it being a scrimmage, to it being canceled again, to it being a full game, which, to my knowledge, is where we stand now. I'm sure we'll have a lot more clarity on this situation in the coming days, but as it stands now, we are still set to play a full 4-quarter game of football with referees. We're just not entirely sure when that's going to happen. It could be 7. It could be within the next 2 minutes. It could be within the next 20 minutes. We just are not sure. Just one of many developments tonight. I'm sure the full story will get out soon, and it is a long, long story. You could write a book about what has happened in the last hour, couldn't you, Bob?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure if Luke told you, but there also were no goalposts. So it's kind of hard to... I guess there won't be any extra points or unos.
Yeah, and I think the Predators were going to go for 2 anyway because kicker Oscar Mozo was scratched from last week. I assume he couldn't make it down here tonight, but yeah, definitely a very interesting situation with the goalpost. Rumor has it that we know for a fact that the field the Cowboys have is the one the High Country Grizzlies had for the past 3 years. We know that. But rumor has it that when the field was shipped, the field goal posts were not shipped along with it, and so the Cowboys don't have them. I assume, if that's true, that they're still up in Boone somewhere in a locker room at the App State basketball stadium. So I don't think the Cowboys have another home game for like a month, so they got time to get them down here before the next run. But for now, unless a semi-hauler comes in here within the next 15 minutes and hangs these things up, we're not kicking.
No.
Or we are kicking, or at the very least there won't be any Unos, because the Cowboys do have a kicker warming up, and he's booting them at least to the goal line, which is pretty good by AAL standards. I mean, there are some fans here. People are at this game. A lot of people are expecting this game to be played. We got Cowboys players on the field warming up. The Predators went out and warmed up. Everybody's got the pads, their jerseys. We're ready to go. We're just waiting on official word. And that's the tricky part. In fact, the Predators are actually off to our left. You can't see them on the screen, but Bob, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to run over there and see if there's any new developments.
All right, I'll try and talk until I can. Then I'll turn it over to Daniel. It's been an interesting day so far.
Yes, it has, Bob. Very interesting.
It's like Luke said, it's all ex-Predators or ex-Cowboys or ex-Dragons.
Yeah, a lot of the guys know one another. You know, to steal a phrase from CBS, they need to start advertising the AAL like they do on Big Brother. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
You never know
Anything
what's
can
going to
happen.
when you show up.
At least we didn't have to drive 300 miles to get here. But
Yeah, at least it's a little closer to home.
I haven't been down on the field, but I've noticed that the field looks pretty good.
It does, and the fact that this is also this is equestrian country, and this also is a host of many rodeos. The field shouldn't be that uncomfortable for those being tackled upon.
Yeah.
It might be a little softer than concrete.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirt out here on the sidelines. Also, from what I heard, the Cowboys didn't have any footballs.
I've heard that also, Bob. I've heard a lot of stuff, and I try to go by the old adage where believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. But so far, I've not seen any footballs either.
And report on everything.
Yeah.
Well, I know last year the Dragons, if the football went into the stands, they'd give it away. Don't think that's going to happen tonight. But
No, I don't think. If they do, it'll be a short game. We'll be fighting some 6-year-old for a football.
But it was good seeing all these guys, especially the Predators, because I go back years ago to semi-pro with them, and they were some good guys. Always family.
Yeah, that's the so far the biggest part of being involved in it is the relationships. Relationships are carried on a lot more than the ball games or the scores or the seasons, or the teams for that matter, as the teams roll over about every year. But the relationships stay with you, and that's what's important.
All right, no real new developments yet, but we've got Predators, like I said, just anxiously waiting off to our left, full pads and everything. They're ready to go, and we've got a couple of Predators, looks like Mark Littlejohn and Mitchell Harris, going down onto the field. I talked with them, and we figured that if they wanted to warm up, there wasn't anybody on the field to make them get off, so they could probably warm up. And Mitchell is on the field without any difficulty. He's slapping some high fives. So it looks like we can at least stay in the end zone. And maybe Mark is going to try to go forward and test the boundaries a little bit. See exactly if there's any limits set by the Cowboys and where they are. He is officially across the goal line. He's out to about the 1.5. He's going horizontally now. Now he's going backwards. You don't ever want to do that, Bob. Never run back towards the end zone. But he's warming up. Now he's going forwards again. Out to about the 3. Going diagonally. Somewhere around the 4. About to the 5. So we've at least got 13 yards to work with for what warm-ups are coming. Now about 15, but Mark's going backward again. and he's throwing to Mitchell Harris, and that looks to be about as far back as he's going to go for the time being. So, bottom line, that very well may be the longest play we have ever called.
Yeah. It's going to be tough reading those numbers.
Yeah. Ridge Laney did a great job on the uniforms. Absolutely fantastic. I'd love to say they're some of the best in the league, but if I had to pick out one thing I didn't like, I think that might be it. They got gray numbers on these black jerseys instead of white ones, but that is a very, very small nitpick because those are some excellent uniforms. You can't, on our camera, you can't really tell, but Ridge Laney did a phenomenal job on those. And heck, I'd love to say that the white uniforms look better than the black ones.
Yeah, they looked good last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I've caught myself saying last week, too. It's weird. For those of you unaware, the Predators were supposed to play the Georgia Doom last week, but there's been some red tape with that one, and somebody canceled the game. We're not sure who. The Doom say we canceled. We say the Doom canceled. Nobody knows for sure.
I've heard through reliable sources the game was canceled early in the week, then later in the week, after the Predators had canceled all of their travel arrangements, somebody called and said the game was back on, and at that point, the price was going to be triple to what it would cost the team to make those last-minute arrangements and to travel. So therefore, they stuck with the original agreement as the game had been canceled earlier in the week.
That sounds pretty accurate. I wouldn't imagine that. I can't imagine anything more complex that happened unless you want to say there's some kind of conspiracy on one side, but we won't go down that rabbit hole.
And I probably shouldn't say this, but...
No, don't say it, Bob. Whisper it in my ear and then you can tell me.
Well, it had to do with the AAL.
Yeah, we still can't find Donnie Bird, but rumor has it he's still on the phone with one of the league officials, and they're still trying to sort this out, but in the meantime, Mark has gotten himself out to the 11-yard line, and he's throwing to Wyatt Rogers, who is not in pads. He's had some hamstring issues for the past 2 months, really. And he, the game last...
Pants on. He's got pants on, no jersey.
Yeah. He might just not want to get on his pads yet. He is a lot more agile without them on. I'd love to say that's true for any football player. But for those of you just tuning in to Predators football, Wyatt Rogers, the leading receiver on the team, has had some hamstring issues since about early March or so. He pulled it while he was playing a game of flag football, had to miss all of training camp, was back, I believe, for the last week before practice, but even then was only at about 50%. Decided to play in the game against the Energy, had some issues with it. He could have gone for the second half, but he didn't want to risk it. Sat out the second half and then was going to sit against the Doom, but that game got canceled under, I guess we'll say, strange circumstances for now. And so he's had about a week and a half to rest that thing. He should be good to go tonight whenever we kick off. And Bob and I and Dad will be here until this thing does kick off, all through the game, and maybe even a little bit afterward if we have any final thoughts. And there's a new development. Head coach Mike Williams is out on the field, and he's out at the 17 moving forward. Mitchell Harris is right beside him, and they are about to cross the 20. This is a good sign. And in the meantime, the Cowboys have been practicing the whole time, or at least 2 of them have. A lot of them have been sitting on the de facto wall in the end zone. Others have been receiving passes, though to my knowledge, number 12 is not a quarterback on this roster. The 2 quarterbacks dressing tonight for the Cowboys are Yeshai Callahan and Hunter Roach. Shane Martinez, the former Dragon who played in their first 2 games, is not playing tonight. It's not clear if he was just scratched or had some kind of injury. We'll update you on that as the situation progresses. But another good sign, Bob. We got music pumping through the stadium speakers. It's quiet, but it's there. And Mark Littlejohn getting ready to do some real warm-up throws now. Frankie Littlejohn, Mitchell Harris, Wyatt Rogers. I believe Devin Ruffin and Chris Jones out there with him.
Devin had a big game last week.
Yeah, Devin Ruffin definitely had a big game. He was lethal on post down the middle of the field in the first quarter. He played at the wide position so he could get downfield pretty quickly and without much issue. Now, when the offensive line struggle started to mount in the second half, they had a lot more difficulty getting him the ball, but he was open on a lot of plays, had a good many catches, but had the line been able to hold up against what was just a relentless energy pass rush, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say he would have cracked 100 yards if the quarterbacks had just had time to get him the ball, because he got open a lot.
Yes, he did.
Not to mention, he's one of the better guys in the game, too.
We've been told that the game is on the delay. That the referees are on the way back. There's some confusion about the field, but they will be playing the game here tonight.
And there we go. There we go. Applause all around.
Cowboys football.
Our PA announcer for the Cowboys, I'm not entirely sure who he is, but in my books, he's a saint because he just confirmed that this game is on. It is delayed until further notice, but it is on. And so we will see the match that quite literally has been 3 years in the making. The Carolina Predators on the road against the Carolina Cowboys in the second unofficial game or the second official game in my unofficial battle for the Carolina series. And you can see it on the screen right now. Those of you just tuning into AAL action, somehow or another there are 4 teams using the name Carolina this year. The Energy, the Havoc, ourselves, the Predators, and the Carolina Cowboys. And so I joked around at the beginning of the year that we should have a little series and that the team with the best record out of this series should be the only one that gets to stay named Carolina after the season. Now, of course, due to rebranding costs and whatnot, that's not viable, but it's still fun to imagine. And we've got the standings right there. Only 1 game played in the series so far. That was 2 weeks ago when the Energy took down the Predators 85-12. They are 1-0 in the series. The Predators are 0-1. And those are the only 2 teams that have any sort of record in this series. The Carolina Havoc, formerly the Atlanta Havoc, have played 3 games, none of them against teams in Carolina, but they have not lost either. They beat Cape Fear on the last play of the game 3 weeks ago in Week 1 action. That was an awesome game. If you haven't seen it yet, go, because it is arena football at its best. Then next week, they took on the Georgia Doom and won that one 48-32. And then just last week, took on the Peach State Cats and won that one pretty handily. So the Havoc definitely on the roll, looking like the class of the AAL, at least south of Virginia at this point. The West Virginia Rough Riders stats have been a little bit hard to come by this year. But to my knowledge, the Rough Riders are just as dominant as ever. I'm sure they're doing just fine. Meanwhile, the Carolina Predators have a forfeit win over the Georgia Doom, as we mentioned earlier on. They are officially 1-1, though they've only played 1 game. And the Carolina Cowboys are 0-2 on the year, with losses to Cape Fear in Week 3 and Peach State in Week 4. Now, that being said, let's take a look at what's at stake for both teams tonight. And I did not send that graphic over yet, but to sum everything up, Cowboys, they have been in existence for 3 years. They traveled for their first 2 years, but have finally just now gotten a home arena secured. This is going to be the first home game in franchise history, and they don't want to disappoint the crowd that has come out tonight. They also want to avoid an 0-3 start to the season and a loss against another lossless team. That being said, the Predators would like nothing more than to win tonight, not just because they've waited so long to play the Cowboys, but because this would be, to my immediate knowledge, the first time an official AAL traveling team has won against an official AAL team outright. I may be wrong on that. Like I said, AAL stats are kind of tricky to come by these days, but to my immediate knowledge, it would be the first time a travel team has ever beat an AAL team outright. And it would not be just the first time that has happened. It would be the first time that has happened in at least 3 years in any league, to my immediate knowledge. Do correct me if I'm wrong on that. But definitely a big opportunity here for the Predators tonight. And they also definitely want to come out here and establish that they're not just another travel team, because traveling teams in any level of arena football historically have not fared well for whatever reason. And they want to prove that they're not just another travel team, that they can go out there and really compete with the big boys, and they've got a chance to do it tonight, because if they win this game, they will not only have an outright win, but with that win against the Georgia Doom, they will move to 2-1 and have a winning record after playing more than 1 game, which I can guarantee is something an AAL traveling team has never done. So history on the line tonight for the Carolina Predators, and after saying all that, you know the Cowboys would love nothing more than to ruin the Predators' party.
Is it just me, or did they take down the padding at the
They
other
have.
end zone.
It appears that they have taken down the padding in the left-hand end zone, which honestly is a good sign because, you know, it didn't make a ton of sense when the referee said that was a safety hazard. They tried to say it could cause issues with tripping, but the immediate response was just to take down the pads because, you know, there's no walls or pads outside and everybody's fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're going to go with now. Just put everybody on the honor system, make sure they don't step out of the back of the end zone. The dirt is out of bounds, and otherwise it's just like you'd see normally. The walls are invisible. Now, for those of you who have kept up with arena football for the past couple of years, you're going to recognize a lot of names on both sides tonight. I'm going to run through both rosters here and just name off everybody that I personally remember spent any amount of time with the Dragons, and this number is probably higher because there were a couple of games Bob and I were unable to attend. But going through the Cowboys roster, Quan Bristol spent time with the Dragons, Rochelle Peebles, Gerard Holbrooks, Michael Lee Sr., who was just signed this week, Julian Wright, Cam Cameron, Cody Haney, Antoine Legrune, Frankie Hall, Brandon Wallace, also known as Bishop Wallace, Tyler Ray Hicks, and for the Predators, Brandon Bingham, Thackeray Burkett, Donnie Bird. I believe Ridge Laney spent one game with them. Mark Littlejohn played with them in that first year, and Michael Timms is joining us. And just gotten word from Michael Timms. Michael Lee has been scratched for unknown reasons. We wish him the best. It's always sad when players don't get to play. But going back to the list of players that have played with the Dragons, again, this is just extensive. Ricky McKinney played 2 games with them in 2016. Wyatt Rogers, I'm sure Dragons fans will remember him. Devin Ruffin spent a game with them, and that rounds it out. So overall, between these two teams, you could build a 21-man roster, if not a 25-man roster, with just past Dragons players from 2 years. That is quite the feat, especially considering that a lot of these players come from pretty far out of town to play, and that's what you gotta love about the AAL, that these guys out here, they're not making millions of dollars. They're not getting huge contracts and sponsorship deals. They're out here because they want to play football. And if you ask me, that's what sports are all about. Getting guys out there that are playing because they want to play football.
Does that look like a new coach to you standing there addressing that?
That does look like a new coach, and there were rumors floating around. We hadn't seen him, but another familiar face from the Upstate Dragons. The man, the myth, the legend, and the now present Sean Sanders, set to take over as defensive coordinator for the Carolina Predators. His back is turned to the camera, but you can see him there with that unmistakable build and the white hat. He is ready for action. And for those of you that tuned in to see the Dragons play in 2016, the defense he led was historic. In all levels of arena football, he led one of the most prolific and efficient defenses in the history of the sport, dating back to 1987. The 2016 Upstate Dragons led by a phenomenal secondary headed by Anthony Quillis, a former lacrosse player with no formal football experience, and Dante Johnson, the legendary safety out of Hawaii, gave up only 17 points a game, which contrasts just wildly with the arena football average, which is somewhere around 50. More than around 2.5 times fewer points given up by the Dragons in 2016.
It looks like he can still play.
He got scratched because he had 9 targets and 0 receptions last week. I don't know, he ain't here. Again, for those of you just tuning in, if you watched 2 weeks ago against Carolina Energy, there have been a couple of roster changes for the Predators since then. Wide receiver Jerron Moore has been scratched. He's been replaced by a near clone of him in Thackeray Burkett. Moore was 5'7", 165. Burkett is listed at 5'10", 165. He's going to be wearing number 1 and playing in that wide position that Jerron Moore played in 2 weeks ago. So, honestly, not much of a difference, just a 3-inch upgrade, though we'll see how they perform on the field. Moore had a lot of targets, wasn't able to make much of them last week against a very, very stout defense that the Carolina Energy sported. But hopefully, with that man right there in the white hat, the Predators are going to be able to emulate some of what the Energy did to them 2 weeks ago when they held them to 12 points total and only 6 points on offense. Sean Sanders, the man, the myth, the legend. Words cannot describe how good of a defense he had 2 years ago with the Upstate Dragons. He did not coach last year. He and Coach Meredith of the Dragons had a falling out towards the end of the season. There were some disagreements about coaching philosophies and whatnot, and they decided to go their separate ways. And then last year, Sean Sanders spent at least part of the season as a player for the Cape Fear Heroes. And when the Dragons played the Heroes in 2018, Sean had at least one interception. I know he had one, and Jerron Moore was a target, interestingly enough, on that one. I think he might have had 2 interceptions in that game. So interesting to note. Again, if you're not familiar with this level of arena football, bottom line, it is a very, very small world.
I think one of his picks was a pick 6 too, wasn't it?
See, that's the thing, and AAL stats are so hard to come by. I know Jonathan Clark was the only quarterback for the Dragons in that game. Shane Martinez had some emergency family issues and had to go back to California for that one. But like I said, I know Sanders had at least one pick, and it was in the end zone on like a 45-yard post that really shouldn't have ever been thrown, because Sanders is, I think when he played, he was listed at 6'0", 205. Let me tell you, he is not 6'0", 205. He is a lot bigger than that. And he is a physical corner going up against a receiver that was 5'7", 160 at the time. Moore just didn't have much of a chance going up against Sanders on a jump ball. Sanders was able to pick that one off. I don't remember how far he got. I feel like he got tackled. He might have had a pick 6. He might have had a second interception that went for a pick 6. I'm not entirely sure, but needless to say, you know, Bob and I were there at that game. The Dragons lost that one 87-12, so I think both of us would kind of like to forget that ever happened.
Plus, it was a 3-mile climb to the.
Oh yes, Mount Everest.
System.
That's our nickname for the Crown Coliseum complex up there in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Beautiful venue, one of the biggest in the league, but boy oh boy, it takes forever to get to the nest in which we stream these games. It is about 3 flights of stairs, and you know, that's tough for me, and I'm 18 years old, and Bob here is in his 70s. Unfortunately, not getting any younger. He's 70 years young, but not getting any younger. It's tough on him getting up there, and there's no elevators. It is chutes and ladders, but in real life. So if you ever want to work out, go to the Crown Coliseum complex and go from the bottom floor to the top floor.
Yeah, I think that's how they practice. They just run the stairs.
You know, Cape Fear's players are really well conditioned, so I would not at all be surprised if that is what they did. Again, Cape Fear, I mentioned that they had that opening game loss to the Havoc, and they only lost on the last play. They were extremely competitive in that one. They always are. And to my knowledge, they have not played since, but again, Cape Fear and the Havoc looking like 2 of the best teams in the league if that first game is any judge. Though, with a team that is on, it's week 5 now, so I think technically Cape Fear's had an entire month off. You never know when a team's got that long off. They'll come out looking completely different. And you know, if you got a month off, a week usually helps teams. When you got 4 of them, I can't imagine how much improvement they've got. Interesting note on the Cape Fear Heroes, I'm not entirely sure who their quarterback is. I believe it's Ryan Bach, who played with them last season, but the Carolina Havoc starting quarterback is Daryl Clark, who competed with Bach and shared snaps last year with the Cape Fear Heroes. And we've got a new development. Well, not really new development since the game is confirmed to be going, but Donnie Bird is on the sidelines holding his phone, looking as if he's finalized a phone call, which is really good news.
Well, if we ever talk to Donnie, he'll talk for 4 hours.
I guess that's something the 2 of us have in common. And you can see Donnie Bird right there, not in pads yet. He was on the phone for at least half an hour, so we'll cut him some slack. But he will be wearing number 0 and playing both fullback and linebacker tonight, whichever position demands his services more. Now, an interesting note on the defensive side for the Carolina Predators. There was some interleague controversy over the past week. Octavius Love was ejected from the game against the Energy in the second half for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. though controversially, the league stated that he had to sit out all of this week's game. Again, that could be a league thing, I'm not sure. We're not going to go into it. All we know factually is that the league said he had to sit out the entire game, so he is not on the active roster tonight. And Stephen Allen, number 4, who had a really good game both at DB and returning kicks last week, also is not playing due to what I assume are logistical issues. So Donald Jones, the only secondary member that played last week, the whole game that is on this roster. Joshua Jamaica Marcus is on the roster as well, and I'm sure he'll see a lot of time at DB. Though should things wear thin, there's 2 guys that I would immediately default to going in the secondary. The first is Devin Ruffin. The second is newly signed linebacker Chris Jones. He is small, but he plays like he is even bigger than Mitchell Harris. He's only listed at 5'8", 200, but man, he plays like he's 6'8", 300. And say what you will about guys that are undersized, he is not undersized because he plays like he is oversized. He has got one of the highest motors of anybody I've ever seen. He sort of redshirted that first game against the Energy. He didn't start. The coaches wanted to have him watch a game from the sidelines so we could get a feel of how Arena really worked. He's ready to go now, and I spoke with him before the game a couple hours ago, and as you can see right there, with a great bat down of Ricky McKinney's practice pass at the line, he is ready for action, ready to kick some tail and take names against the Cowboys this week.
Well, at 5'8", you got something to prove.
Exactly.
And usually they do.
And Antoine Legrune would probably be the best example of that. You know, he was 5'9", 15. I think he could have been a little bit smaller than that on a bad day, but he played just as big as anybody else on the field. He has got a phenomenal motor. He is playing for the Cowboys, though they have moved him to DB, which I honestly feel is a better position for him because of his size. Just a lot of good things happening for a lot of players. People being able to play in positions they otherwise couldn't play in with the Dragons for one reason or another. Cody Haney, another familiar name for the Dragons. He is an exception to that rule. I personally think from what I've seen out of him, he's better at receiver, but the Cowboys need him at linebacker, so that's where he'll play, though if they get into 3rd and long situations. Cody is one of the best route runners I've ever seen up close and personal. So if they get into any 3rd and longs and need to run double moves, do not be surprised if he comes in. I'm gonna grab some water.
Yeah, she was gonna bring us water, wasn't she? I like it. 7:17. He says the game has been delayed. I said, well, seeing as it's supposed to start at 7.
Yeah.
I think we outdrew them last year. Of course, we didn't charge $20. I wonder if Shane's hurt or just
I don't know.
maybe just
I don't know if he's banged up or what.
if they took that padding down, I got a feeling that everything's going this way.
I would think so.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. We sent him home. He was too fired up. What's that? Well, it started at 7, then it was canceled, then it was turned to a scrimmage, and now it's back to a game, but they're waiting for the refs to come back. Because they didn't have an end zone or goalpost. So the ref said, nope, I'm gone. I guess they talked him into coming back.
Yeah, there's a whole cooler of water over there, but there's no cups and no good way to get it over. So I guess we'll just have to go without until we see somebody and tell them to bring it over here. Because we're the visiting team and we should. But no immediate developments so far. Game still going as planned, or will be on as planned shortly. Huh?
He might have turned it on.
No, it's still going. No, I think he did turn it off, actually. I turned one of them off. We'll see. We'll ask when he gets back. But Sean Sanders, I spoke with him on the sideline. I told the DBs he's going to lead him to a shutout because, again, that defense he ran 2 years ago was just historic. Words can't describe how dominant they were. But to put it into context, if any arena football fan is worth his stuff, he'll know who the Florida Tarpons are. And this is not an exaggeration. You can look it up. Sean Sanders' defense held the Florida Tarpons to 13 points in 2016. That was a Monday game on April 17th, 2017, I believe. Because we played Cape Fear on a Sunday, and then the Tarpons was a Monday game. So that would have been April 17th, yeah. Mark Littlejohn's birthday. He quarterbacked that game, and the Dragons would have won that one, but it was before Mark and Wyatt had really gotten their chemistry down. They barely really knew each other, and bottom line, with about a minute left, the Dragons had the ball and were going to go on a game-winning drive. They got it out to around the 25, and then a pass bounced off of Wyatt Rogers' chest. Again, he didn't have his chemistry down with Mark, and he wasn't expecting it so early. Bounced up into the air, was intercepted by the Tarpons' Jack linebacker, and that was all she wrote. But again, a dominant defensive performance by the Dragons in that game, and to be honest, well, actually, technically, Sean did get signed because he played with Cape Fear the next year. But when you run that legendary of a defense, you can't expect not to move up to some degree. And that's exactly what Sean did, and we're really glad that he's back because he is as dominant as they come. And to attest to how aggressive of a player number 54 linebacker Chris Jones is, I was down there on the sidelines watching them practice, and there was a play where Jones came out from his safety spot to try and make a tackle on Jamaica Marcus on a hitch route, and he ran right towards me, and the look in his eyes was absolutely terrifying. Man. And they didn't even have helmets on, so I feel very bad for anybody that runs into him. And I'd like to take a moment to give a quick shout out to another name Dragons fans will be familiar with, John Boone. He was the radio announcer for the Dragons last year and is the one behind the only known media records of their game versus the New Jersey Flight. We have verbal records, Bob went, but we don't have any.
I was a color man.
Yeah.
Wasn't as good as you, but...
But technically speaking, that radio broadcast is the only proof we have that that game ever was actually played. And that is all thanks to John Boone, who is now working with the Carolina Cowboys. And they have partnered with a vocational school in Anderson, South Carolina, and are using the high-tech resources that that district has access to stream the Cowboys games all season long. And so, for the first time in AAL history, both teams will be streaming the same game at the same time. So if you don't want to listen to us, which I can't understand why you wouldn't, you can go to the Carolina Cowboys YouTube channel, as Cowboys with a Z, not an S, and check out their broadcast of the game, though I'm not entirely sure they're live. But let me tell you, we come out here with, we've only got one microphone tonight because I left my other one in my dorm room at college, but we come out here with a microphone, one camera, and a laptop, and we're good to go. And I will run over there and zoom in on what I call the military-industrial complex.
Damn, the rest must have gone to batch of Charlotters.
And there you can see John Boone and his crew of eager high school students looking to get some real-world experience. It's a great program for them, and you can see they've got 2 laptops, a PC, which you can't see on screen, but it has a massive hard drive. It is an outright supercomputer, and I don't know where their cameras are. I believe, Jackson, if you can pan over a little bit to the right. Yep, and, well, that's an empty tripod, but their cameras are TV quality cameras. They do a fantastic job broadcasting these games, and all that equipment is, to my knowledge, property of the vocational school in Anderson that is also supplying these high school students. It's a really great program, and it's something that's really never been done before, but I got a message from Irvin Bryson last night, the owner of the Carolina Energy, asking if he knew anybody that could stream his games for him, and I told him I didn't, but if there were any vocational schools with media programs around, that he should give them a call, because what the Cowboys are doing, even if it's not immediately noted, it will be very memorable. And there's a giant platypus behind me. I know that statement doesn't make much sense, but there's a giant platypus walking by.
It's either a cowboy or a predator.
Yeah. There he is. Not entirely sure what that platypus has to do with anything, but
I think John teaches at that vocational school too.
Oh!
That's how he gets all these kids, and then they get credit, high school credit.
Oh, that would make even more sense. Mark Littlejohn down there conversing with, of all people, my mother. Amy Ruff, she is down there. My little brother is over here too. You can say hi if you want, Jackson. He is.
Hi guys.
That's not where the microphone is.
Hi guys.
Yeah, that is Jackson. He is going into middle school next year.
Where's that at?
And I don't know why I expected anything else. My mom was taking a picture of Mark and Wyatt. I don't know why I expected anything else. She loves taking pictures.
Usually don't see one without the other anyway.
I know, they've got great chemistry. I mentioned it took them a little while to get it down, but since then, they know each other like the back of their own hands. If you saw that touchdown catch last week, which our stream cameras did not catch it, but video footage surfaced about at least 3 days ago on Facebook. Somebody was on the Predator sideline and filming the whole game, caught the moment. I mean, they were about 5 feet away from Rodgers when he leaped over the back wall of the end zone, fell over it, and completed a touchdown catch. Had possession of the ball and everything. It was absolutely amazing. Video footage has just now surfaced, and I'm sure it's been shared like wildfire by Predators players, but if you want to find it immediately, you can go to my personal page on Facebook. That is Luke Ruff, R-U-F-F with 2 F's. And to my knowledge, it's the first thing on my timeline. And I posted it with a quote I made about Rodgers. And before the game started 2 weeks ago, I said, on occasion, he puts Julio Jones to shame. And once you see that video, you will know that statement is 100% accurate. This kid is phenomenal. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the Cowboys counter not only him, but the rest of this Predators receiving core, which is very, very sizable and very, very physical. Again, Isaac Mueller, 5'9", 230. He's not that big, but he has got biceps like Nick Darris and will plow through anybody and anyone to get whatever it is he wants. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for whoever goes in at that field corner position. And then Kevin McLaurin, who I'm anxious to see, 6'4", 245 as a receiver. Could be a tight end outside. I'm not entirely sure on his semi-pro history, but he was a matchup nightmare for the Energy last week, and their DBs rounded out around 6 foot or 5'11". Average size of a Cowboys DB, to my immediate knowledge, is somewhere around 5'10", 190. So McLaurin has about 50 pounds and at least 5 inches on most of the DBs he's going to be facing tonight. That will be very interesting to see. And again, as always, Wyatt Rodgers is a matchup nightmare for anybody who goes against him. In the open field, he is actually the least dangerous. He is much better on just 50-50 balls down the sideline. Again, and Bob can confirm this, if he jumps up in the air, the chances of him catching the ball increase exponentially. We don't get it. We don't know how it works.
Nobody could have caught it if he couldn't jump.
Yeah. If anybody else can catch it, he may catch it, but if nobody else can catch it, you can be sure he'll catch it. That's just how it works. It's hard to explain, but once you see the video, or I'm sure he'll have 1 or 2 miracle catches like that tonight. He always does. Once you see it, it'll all make sense. He is just insanely talented down the field. But again, with that hamstring, was not able to practice for most of training camp, only was able to come to the last practice of the season. He's gotten a little bit rusty with his catching, at least in the open field. No talent lost going down the sideline, but in the open field, he's had a few troubles just looking balls in. That'll come with time, I'm sure. Again, he wasn't able to practice the things. The technique was kind of lost in the past, but again, I'm sure with 2 weeks to rest that hamstring especially, and he and Mark get together to practice almost constantly, they're like best friends. I'm sure he is ready to go this week. And I tell you what, we are ready to go too if they will just start the game. I am chomping at the bit up here, ready to get this thing off. I've been waiting 3 years for a team Bob and I work for to play the Carolina Cowboys. The opportunity is finally here.
Yeah, we saw you take it.
And now we have to wait, though. Again, we've been waiting 3 years. What's another 15 minutes or so? Hey, I'm going to try to get the new graphics over there real quick.
All righty. Well, needless to say, Luke can talk a lot better and longer than I can, but that's because he's younger and I'm very, very old. But looking forward to this game. This is my first game because I was doing hockey 2 weeks ago and missed the energy game, and then we didn't play last week, so this is my first game, and it's going to be hard remembering the numbers, but I do have a roster in front of me. We have, like Luke said, we have a lot of old-time players that we've known. Kevin Sessions is about 75 years old. Not really, but I want him to hear that. Ricky McKinney, who I've been following since high school. Mark Littlejohn, of course. Donnie Bird, who I've been following since high school at Wade Hampton. Brandon Bingham, who is older than I am. So it's family, and you got to come out and you got to watch them. Our schedule is on Facebook, so if you get a chance, look it up and look for the rest of the week's schedule, the rest of the year's schedule. All our games are on the road because we're traveling, but it's worth the trip, believe me. Always has been, always will be. It's like we got Jackson Ruff running the camera today. Still waiting on the refs. I don't know where they went back to, but hope they didn't just say we'll turn around and then said no, we ain't. But if they say they're coming back, they're coming back. I think the players on both teams are getting, they've been out there a while practicing, but Coach Shannon just got here a little while ago, so he's had a chance to work with them now. And one thing about Sean is you can keep him away 10 minutes after he's here. He knows everybody. They know him. They listen to him. It's a nice arena here. I like I said, I think we said earlier, it's used for rodeos a lot. But the seating is nice. The lighting is nice. I'm sure in another couple games they'll have their back left end zone covered. Excuse me. And have some goalposts up. But
all right, Bob. I want to direct everybody's attention to what could be one of the most interesting storylines in the AAL this year, and it, contrary to popular belief, it is not our impact players for the Predators offense. That is up there by mistake, and we'll get to them in a bit, likely when the offense comes out for the first drive. But as you can see, Brandon Bingham and Devin Ruffin going to be getting some spotlight today. But I want to direct everybody's attention to the best player on the Carolina Cowboys roster, Yeshai Callahan. He is a quarterback and wide receiver. I don't have the roster, so I don't have his height and weight, unfortunately, but he is the best quarterback and wide receiver. But the problem is that he can only be on the field at one position. If he goes in at quarterback, the Cowboys lose their number one receiver. If he goes in at receiver, the Cowboys lose their starting quarterback. There is no immediate solution, as it is logistically impossible for a quarterback to throw to himself, which would be the paper solution, but it is a very interesting paradox and something the Carolina Cowboys are going to have to figure out. They've switched him around and put him at both positions tonight, or in the past, and one hasn't really been more effective than the other. He has all 4 of the Cowboys' touchdowns on the year. He's thrown 3 and caught 1, and he seems to be equally effective at both positions, which just makes the decision that much harder. Now, the Cowboys do have a new backup quarterback tonight in Hunter Roach, who played with them last year. Shane Martinez, who has been their starter for the past 2 weeks, is not playing tonight for immediately unknown reasons. We might get more on that later on. But, needless to say, Hunter Roach, who has also played receiver, is the backup tonight. I assume Callahan is the starter. But if he goes out in at receiver, it's going to be Roach throwing to him. And if Callahan goes in at quarterback, at some point, he's probably going to be throwing to Roach. So a very interesting predicament, and one the Cowboys are going to have to get down, because Callahan is their best player. They've got to figure out how to get the ball in his hands and how to get the ball in his hands as much as they can.
and they've got to face Sean's defense.
Exactly. Bob said, I don't know if you guys could hear him, but they have to go up against Sean Sanders' defense, and it's not quite his yet. This is the first time he's even been with the team, so he's getting to know a lot of the guys he probably hasn't had much contact with in the past. But needless to say, just having his presence on the sideline can work wonders for a team. Because if you look back, Cape Fear's defense was pretty darn good last year too.
Okay. So apparently there's been another change to your guys' roster you guys don't know about. Because according to Donnie, he's talking about 54, which is
Yeah.
who was number 3?
Jamaica Russell.
Jamaica Russell.
Yeah. Or Jamaica Marcus, yeah. That's him. Yes, Jamaica Marcus. Yeah, we knew he was playing.
John's over there asking me about it.
Alright. Just see if you can get some water. Bobby sent it to me. Like, I got it on my phone, but we need water. And tell me what the Predators so you don't make paper. Tell me what the Predators so you don't make paper. We know most.
Where is Russell?
We do have a bit of a development. Well, it's not really development because Bob and I were kind of aware of it the whole time, though I think it officially just got made. One of the players, we're not sure who, has been scratched from the Predators roster, and Marcus Russell, otherwise known as Jamaica, will be playing. Or Jamarcus, I get that wrong every time because he's got Jamaica. I immediately default to Jamarcus Russell, but we do not have Jamarcus Russell. His name is Joshua Marcus, and everybody calls him Jamaica. He wears number 3 and will be playing offense and defense tonight. Again, I'm not sure who got scratched in his favor, but he will be playing, and we've seen him out here warming up. You can see him on the sidelines now. He's the one with the red headband. we knew he was out here. I guess he just hadn't officially been added to the roster until now.
Where's my pen? So he's on our team.
But yes, and he is a good one to have. He was one of only 2 tryout signings for the Predators this season. The other was Chris Jones, and both of them come out onto the field with a ton to prove. They play with a chip on their shoulders, and it shows. They go out there and give it their all on every single play. It is a lot of fun to watch. Now, a very interesting note that I'm surprised in the hour we've been live we have not got around to, but as you can see, the Predators are wearing black jerseys and the Cowboys are wearing white jerseys. If you watched the Dragons last year, I'm sure you saw a lot of that. But very interesting note, the Predators are only wearing black because of, again, I said at the beginning of the broadcast, if you like football, you're in the right place, but if you like some soap operas and Monday night dramas, you're in the right place too, because there's been a lot of drama this past week. Cowboys receiver and DB Shaq Mack posted an image of the Cowboys logo with a caption, "Boys 100, Predators 0." Add 38 or scratch it? Oh, okay. 38 and 51. All right. I'm going to show you the 40. All right.
What is that?
Huh?
I got another lesson for y'all.
Oh, okay. That's Jamaica. He didn't finish writing it.
I think we could. But he's now in the 21, so y'all need it.
Oh, so he's not playing?
No.
Oh,
The
shoot.
ones I gave you was 21.
Oh, okay.
You gave your copy to somebody else?
Yeah, Tackery had it last I checked.
I got one for you.
All right. Yeah, as I was saying, Shaq Mack, a DB and wide receiver for the Cowboys, posted an image on Facebook. I believe it was Wednesday night, with the Cowboys logo that had a caption that said "Boys 100, Predators 0." And Frankie Littlejohn, which, if any of you guys know him, I've only known him for about a month, and I can already tell you he is one of the most vocal guys on the planet. He saw it, he freaked out, he made a Facebook post saying that the Cowboys were going to wear, or that the Predators were going to wear all black this game because it was the Cowboys' funeral. And I don't support, I don't condone or support any kind of back and forth like that, but it's a lot of fun if you're not involved. And long story short, that is why the Predators are wearing black. Though if you want the real story, we better not say on the stream. But there's another reason the Predators are wearing black tonight.
Sessa's 30 now?
Huh?
Sessa's 30?
Who is?
Sessa.
No, he's 38. Kelvin Sessoms played fullback last week, saw some time at linebacker.
Oh, it is an 8. I thought it was a 0.
Yeah, the gray numbers strike for the first time. I'm sure they'll get us a couple more times in the broadcast again. Heck, I bet it's hard for you at home to see them, and you could be hundreds of miles away and still watching this game. Where about, I don't know, Bob, what'd you say, 30 yards away? And it's tough to make them out.
Yeah, which is half the field.
Yeah. Still no word from the officials on when this game will start, but everybody getting some valuable practice time in, though I think everyone's tired now because there's not as many people on the field as there were.
Yeah.
But speaking of being tired, I think the Cowboys put themselves at a disadvantage earlier today because rumor has it, we know for a fact that the field was just installed starting last night. Rumor has it that the Cowboys have been here since 6 a.m. putting the walls and field down, which Bob and I were there in Anderson. Thanks, Mike.
You have to just add my name on that.
All right.
No, man.
Yeah, Bob and I were there when the Dragons put their field down last year, and that was a painstaking process. I almost got rolled over when we were rolling out the turf. I wound up on top of it somehow and almost got crushed beneath it. It is not fun putting that stuff down. It takes hours and hours and hours, and it is an exhausting process, and that is all the Cowboys have been doing today. So predictably, they're going to be very tired, though. Both teams are coming off of bye weeks, and they've both been warming up for about 2 hours now, so I'm sure everything will cancel out in the long run, though. The conditioning for both teams is going to be something to look at.
Is that a split at the 25?
It is a split at the 25. Though if you go down there, it is like a memory foam mattress underneath this field. It is. You've got dirt and then something, I don't know what it is, but it's really soft. and then carpet on top of that. So if anybody does take a hard hit, it'll probably be the softest hard hit they take all year, because again, you've got compressed dirt and then what I would say is about as soft as a new rug on top of carpet. The big hits aren't going to be too big, which is a good thing.
Right.
We've got water.
The water boy is here.
And you know, Bob, I think I can tell you exactly what's happening right now. Both teams don't want to warm up anymore because they feel like they're going to give away what they're going to do in the game.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Last I checked, the game's still on, but it's been on for like an hour. Maybe this is the game. Yeah, this is the real game, Bob. Who can stay out on this field longer?
Well, you know something's up when the sun was out when we got here, and now it's moon's coming up.
And it's April, too.
Yeah.
Like if it was December or something, that'd be pretty normal. But we got here at 2. We've been here for going on 6 hours now. Game still ain't started, but they're having a blast up here in the booth. Anxiously chomping at the bit again. Waited 3 years for this game. A lot of the players have waited 3 years. I've waited 3 years. Bob's waited 3 years. I know Mark Littlejohn and Wyatt Rogers have waited 3 years for this. What's a couple of more minutes, you know? And this is an interesting development. Hunter Roach, the backup quarterback for the Carolina Cowboys, is taking a seat in the stands. Oh no, he's talking family members. That's all.
Can't tell you.
Where y'all get them cold waters from?
My mom went and got them. I don't know where she went.
Oh, you bought them? Oh, hell.
I told you to tell about predators.
Well, you guys could go to the concession stand and say what the predators did.
Huh? Did you say you're going to bring me another schedule?
Right there.
Well, he had that.
Yeah, that's why I haven't brought up. That's the 21-man roster.
Okay. So, my changes should be right. Russell's not
Yeah,
playing.
everybody here is on 21.
Okay.
So we're going to do a little light scrimmage.
So light scrimmage?
Yeah.
Ain't going to be a game?
No rest.
They didn't come back?
Huh?
They didn't come back?
No, they ain't come back.
Hell, he announced that they were coming back and there'd be a game.
Yeah.
Are there any specific drills you want them to run? Because I don't think we have anything to do.
Oh, no, we're gonna do a light scrimmage.
A light scrimmage for now? So like 8-on-8s?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a full game, but
No, I mean like right now before the game starts. Because I mean I think that they're just trying to find something to do.
no, we getting ready to go get each other.
Oh, so we're about ready to go?
Yeah,
How
we just
long
gonna
is it?
have
5 minutes?
We just gonna have no real.
But the refs ain't coming back,
Okay.
So,
Okay, so say like 5 minutes, okay?
I think 10, 15 months.
All right. You heard it here first. That's it. You heard it here first, folks. I just spoke to Donnie Bird. He says the game will start in 15 minutes at the most. Both teams, again, they've been chomping at the bit for ages. We have too, anxiously awaiting the start of this game. This is probably going to end up being the longest stream we've ever done because the pregame now has gone on for like an hour and a half.
Donnie said it's going to be a scrimmage.
Yeah. And again, yes, it is going to be a controlled scrimmage.
That should be a win.
Yeah, the referees, I guess the referees didn't show up. So a controlled scrimmage, everybody's going to be on the honor system. And whether or not whoever wins will get this counted as a win, I can't say. I mean, if they go all out, because they're going to be in full pads and helmets, tackling and all, I don't see why the winner wouldn't get a full win, but with the AAL, there may be some rules in place that could prevent that. We'll be back in a few moments. I'm going to head down to the sideline and talk with the team members. All right, everyone. I'd say T-minus about 3 minutes. The game will be a controlled scrimmage. No referees, everyone's on the honor system. If any kind of fights break out, the game will likely be over at that point. But needless to say, after the longest pregame we have ever done, we're almost there. We are almost there. And the PA announcer's starting up. He knows it. We all know it. We are almost ready for action. Live from the T. Ed Garrison Arena in Clemson, South Carolina. Cowboys, Predators in the second game of the Battle for Carolina series. I've gotten the graphics in. For those of you just tuning in, I'd like to welcome you to T. Ed Garrison Arena in Clemson, South Carolina. We are on an extension of Clemson's campus in Pendleton right now, ready for action in what was going to be a full game that got canceled, then turned into a scrimmage, then got canceled again, then turned into a full game, and is now a scrimmage. But we are very close to kicking this one off. We are ready to go, and you will hear me mention the term Battle for Carolina quite a few times tonight. That is an unofficial series that I made up, but I think it's pretty fun because in the AAL, due to just sheer coincidence, there are 4 teams that use the name Carolina in their names. Those would be the Carolina Energy, the Carolina Havoc, us, the Carolina Predators, and the Carolina Cowboys, who we are playing tonight. I decided it'd be fun to keep track of all these teams' records against each other, though so far, through 5 weeks in the AAL, only one game has been played between 2 Carolina teams. That happened 2 weeks ago when the Carolina Energy beat the Predators in Charlotte. Since then, no other games have been played. It was only the Energy's first game of the year, and they don't have another game till next week, so 3 straight byes for them due to a scheduling quirk. But they looked very dominant in their win, and the Havoc so far, 3-0 with a big win over Cape Fear in week 1. They look like the class of the league right now. Meanwhile, both the Predators and the Cowboys trying to rebound from rough starts to the season. The Cowboys looking to avoid going 0-3, and the Predators, after gaining a forfeit win over the Georgia Doom last night, are looking to be the first traveling team in at least AAL history, if not, I'd say probably the past 5 or 6 years, to have a winning record through more than one game. Which is to say, if they win this, they would be 2-1 going into week 6, which for a traveling team is just historic. And it would also be the first time a traveling team has won outright against an AAL opponent, which is also history. Lots and lots of history to be made tonight. And the Predators over there on the sidelines, if we can pan a little bit, getting ready for action. They're fired up and ready to go. I believe that's Frankie Littlejohn leading the charge over there. And we are all but ready to go. Players getting ready to take the field. Again, no goalposts here due to a logistical error on the part of the High Country Grizzlies, who were supposed to ship their field down to the Cowboys. They got the field down, but they didn't send the goalposts. So the Cowboys don't have any goalposts, and likewise, we're going to do things AAF style here. Each drive will start on the 20-yard line, no kickoffs, so no time will run off on those either. And if there was a coin toss, we didn't see it, but the Carolina Predators are going to take the offensive side of the ball first. They'll start at the 20 against the Cowboys. Mark Littlejohn is the immediate starter in this game. Ricky McKinney started last week. Littlejohn starting this week, but they will both see time at quarterback unless one of them starts performing exceptionally, then they'll likely keep them in.
Fred's break out of the huddle.
He is. You need to start there.
Got Mark at
right
QB.
there. Started on snap.
And here's the first snap ever at Garrison Arena. And look out.
And that is a big run there for Kelvin Sessoms. And here we go. Here we go, the no-huddle offense. We've been waiting a while to see this one. Arena teams, it is rarely, if ever, done. Mark Littlejohn and I, we wanted to see how it would work. And some formatting issues, everybody trying to get ready. But what you just saw was a big part of the game plan, too. The Cowboys linebackers are really small, and we wanted to see if we could just run it down their throats, but no run there. That one's intercepted. Mark wants a flag, but there's no refs to throw one. And that is number 2 with the interception. Mark just led his receiver too far, and an unfortunate start to the game for the Predators. The Cowboys will take the field, led likely by quarterback or receiver Yeshai Callahan, the best player on their roster. And as the players start switching sides, let's take a look at the impact players for the Carolina Predators defense. And as you see, Donald Jones, the only starting DB from last week. Octavius Love is suspended for this game due to a personal foul penalty he got in the last one against the Energy. And Stephen Allen did not make it to this game due to logistical issues. Donald Jones is going to have to lead that secondary, which is complemented by number 10, Joshua Scales, who is listed as a running back and defensive lineman. And I believe that is number 33, Mark Granville, Jr., who played Jack linebacker last week.
I don't think we've got a roster for the Cowboys. So.
I've got one on my phone. Yeshai Callahan under center.
Back to throw. Short pass, and he had a lot of running room, too.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to see with the Predators. Not the Cowboys getting running room, obviously, but penetration there by the defensive line. It came quick and it came early, and it forced Callahan to not only throw before he wanted to, but to throw off of his back foot, which is a big, big thing for quarterbacks, especially in this league. You have to be able to set your feet. You have to be able to set them quickly, usually in about a second and a half, because even with a stellar offensive line, 2 seconds is about all you have.
Second down. Callahan at quarterback under center. Stays back. He's going to throw again.
Got all day going
he
deep.
Had time. Whoa. He had a man wide open down the end zone.
And again, you'll hear me say this a lot, especially if there's more defensive breakdowns like that. It was a zone coverage, and they weren't ready for it. I believe that was some kind of cover one in the safety. Didn't take the deep man, but all it amounts to is that Callahan saw that, got excited, and didn't set his feet. And it happens with quarterbacks, and you just have to adapt to it, because a lot of times when you have a receiver like that, you get anxious, you get excited, don't really follow through with your mechanics all the way, and it can result in a big overthrow. And wouldn't have that been something for the Cowboys to be able to take the lead on the 4th play from scrimmage against the Predators?
Third down. Back in the shotgun now.
That's something you're going to see a lot of, but the Cowboys have struggled snapping it. Good one there. Callahan forced a run.
I believe they had him stopped, and he avoided the tackle. Got a first down.
Yeah, juke the living daylights out of, I'm not sure who that was. Again, these gray numbers are going to be a curse tonight. But Yeshai Callahan, again, that was one of the big keys for the Predators' defense today. They have to figure out a way to stop him, whatever position that he's at. If he's at quarterback, again, you can see the keys of the game. If he's at quarterback, make sure you keep him inside the pocket and turn him into a pocket passer. He's most dangerous as a runner. But again, with the indoor rules, it's pretty easy for quarterbacks to run at this level of play because linebackers usually don't spy.
Back to the shotgun. He's being rushed. Throws it
intercepted!
Picked off!
That's Donald Jones, one of our impact players.
Donald Jones.
His second pick in as many games. And both came on the opening possession for the teams he intercepted. That one was batted up in the air by one of the linebackers. Callahan had all day to throw that one, and I think it might have gotten to him a little bit. He had low open, but one of the linebackers was able to swoop in there at the last second and take it down. And no, that was actually not one of the linebackers. That was the fullback, Earl Cameron, batted the ball up. So a little friendly fire there.
That's right. You got the replay down there.
We sure do.
And in motion, give up the middle, they're going to stop him this time.
They were ready for the run there. And adjustments are going to be a big theme this year for every team in the league. It's all about making them on the fly. And the Cowboys were able to adjust there. They gave up that big run on the first play from scrimmage last time around. And again, good awareness by them to think that the Predators might try to open with the same play since it succeeded so well the last time. Good awareness. Doesn't really pay off, or it does pay off for them, not for the Predators, and it brings up 2nd down and 10.
I think they're putting the ball down backward before it got stopped.
There ain't no telling when the ball's going to be spotted because we don't have referees, we don't have a chain gang. It's a controlled scrimmage. Everyone's on the honor system. It'll be rough and tumble to say the least. That was a false start, but he got McClure there, and there is McClure. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for the Cowboys secondary because of his size. 6'3", 245. I think he's 6'4", personally. And the average height of these Cowboys DBs is somewhere around 5'10", 190. He has got a lot of gas on him. But there, he didn't have to do much work. Anybody could have caught that pass and got some yards on it because they bailed out. Yeah.
Is that a first time?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. Little John back. No.
And that is eerily reminiscent of the play that was intercepted against the Tarpons 2 years ago, a slant that bounced off of Wyatt's numbers. But I'm starting to realize the pattern is that, and Mark said this in the beginning of training camp, I didn't really take it to heart, but Wyatt does not like contact. And I think that's his biggest weakness, hanging on to catches, not necessarily in traffic, but just over the middle when he knows somebody is coming. He tends to think about it a little too much, and when you get into that situation, that's where you want to see Isaac Mueller, the 5'9" slot receiver, who's definitely more apt to make those catches over the middle. Little John going to get sacked on this one. Offensive line did not hold up. That was the nose tackle coming through. Cody Kennedy struggling in pass protection again for the Predators. And after that sack, I hate to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see the immediate return of the shotgun. And I honestly don't know what down this is. I think the Cowboys are calling it 4th and something.
Yeah, so that wasn't the first time.
Yeah, again, we don't have officials. I'm sure the Cowboys are going to say it's 4th and something. I'm sure the Predators are going to say it's 2nd and something. But regardless, Little John got sacked on the last play for a big loss. That's all we know for a fact. That's roughing in motion. Little John back to pass. Intercepted by Cody Haney.
Cody Haney and everything.
And Little John, 2 picks already. The Cowboys have done their homework. I think they realized, especially after that reception he had a couple of plays back, that the Predators, their weapon they feel most comfortable going to is Kevin McClure on those quick screens.
Yeah.
And Haney, especially at that jack spot, you can only go sideline to sideline, but they were on the college hash throwing a hitch to a receiver that was about 5 yards away horizontally. Not a stretch at all for Haney to be able to step out and pick that one off. Big momentum here for the Cowboys potentially, but they're going backwards?
Yeah, I haven't figured that out, but I'm
yeah,
not going to argue.
Yeah, they should be on the other side of the ball.
Callahan back.
They should be, yeah, this ball should be spotted around the Predators 7, but for some reason it's on the Cowboys 7, but I mean, we won't complain. And just a disaster of a play there.
We got a sack again.
And that wasn't a sack because Callahan was able to hand that one off. It was one of the strangest handoffs I've ever seen because he ran into Cameron in the backfield. Loss of about 3, so we'll call that 2nd and 13. For the Cowboys. Has it really only been a minute and 13 seconds so far on the game clock?
3 interceptions.
Craziness so far, pre-game, or before the game, and pre-game, during the game, it has been up and down. 3 interceptions thrown already on 3 drives. Both defenses doing their homework.
Patting in the shotgun, man in motion. He's got time, throws it
Going
away,
deep.
got it.
Oh, what a play!
Beautiful play.
Mark Granville able to bat that one away. Ball hung in the air a little too long, and he was able to make up the ground he lost off the line. And we'll watch it on the replay here. Just a great, great rebound there from Mark Granville, and we got the wrong replay, unfortunately.
Is that Moore, number 3?
Huh?
No, he's with us.
No, Moore's not playing this week.
Yeah. He looked like him. He was fast.
Yeah. Moore doesn't have dreads, though.
Yeah.
Sanders making a couple of adjustments to his defense. Needless to say, happy with Granville's effort towards the tail end of that one, but definitely not happy that they let that guy get open. I'll have to check the roster, but if I'm not mistaken, that is Shaq Mack, who is only 5'4", but he is fast as lightning. Definitely a dangerous weapon, and I like the call to kind of give him some cushion at the line of scrimmage.
Back to the shotgun, he's standing close to the goal line, but not on it. Got time, but he...
Mitchell Harris gets juked again, almost able to make the tackle, and this is why Callahan is such a weapon. Isaac Mueller able to take him down and stop a touchdown, but just another huge gain for Callahan, and this is what you have to be able to stop. And Harris had him and got juked twice. And I don't think it's a testament to Harris's ability. I think it's more a testament to how good Callahan is as a runner, which just begs the question of how to stop him. Because that's been the issue so far. He's had 2 huge runs like that because he's gotten out of the pocket. And he is a run-first guy. The Cowboys' offensive line doesn't help matters any. But
I don't think he intended to run on that. But
yeah, me neither. But I think as soon as he sees a running lane open, he'll take it, because through 2 games for the Cowboys, that has been so much more reliable. They have to figure out a way to stop that. And the immediate solution, I say, would be to put Isaac Mueller or Chris Jones in there at linebacker and tell them to spy every play.
Yeah.
Because Harris is definitely more of a MAC linebacker, not as agile as Isaac or Chris. I think they'd be less liable to get juked like that. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys, and it's a handoff to Earl Cameron. And Isaac was ready for that one, but Cameron trucked him. It's a gain of about 8. I think after this goal, we might just need to give up on the clock because we don't have it. And this will be somewhere around 2nd and 2. Again, everyone, no referees tonight. It's a controlled scrimmage, so everybody's going to have to keep track of stuff in their heads, including score. I actually don't see a scoreboard around here.
No.
It's like the torch games, really.
I got a feeling he's going to 3 on this.
3 got loose. He didn't see him. I think
Good
that
thing.
was, yeah, he was wide open, and I like Callahan looking at his shorter reads first, but he had 3 wide open. That would have been a touchdown again had he completed it, but it just begs the question how they're getting this open. I mean, it's the obvious answer is that it's zone coverage and short zones at that he's being able to pass through, but strange things are happening so far. And to make it even stranger, the Cowboys gave us their roster and they didn't have any numbers, so I've got no idea who that is. I think it's Shaq Mack. I think it's him. I don't know that it's him. I think it's him. We're going to say it's Shaq.
He's back in the shotgun. It's either 2nd or 3rd down. Hard to
No,
tell.
they can't run it from this position. No, they can't. Or Callahan can.
Exactly.
Callahan rolls out. Littlejohn almost had him.
Oh,
And he's
man.
looking to throw across his body, and that one didn't have
Man, he
a chance.
had 20 yards.
Interesting choice there by Callahan. Like Bob mentioned, he had a lot of open grass, and running's been the only thing that's worked for the Cowboys. I don't think they've completed a pass so far. He had a lot of room to run and wanted to throw, but again, rolling to the right, rolling to the left, and throwing to the right, that's never going to work at any level. I don't care if you're Tom Brady or Russell Wilson, it ain't happening. This is somewhere around 3rd or 4th and 2.
I'm not sure what Donnie Bird's doing out there. He's got a helmet.
Yeah? I don't know. I'm not sure if anybody. Oh, yeah, he's right there. Callahan got the play call in, and something's going wrong. I guess under normal circumstances they'd call a timeout, but we don't have a play clock right now. Yeah, I think we would have gotten like 2 or 3 right there.
So it's either 3rd or 4th down.
Yeah. Free rusher!
Yeah.
It's Kelvin Sessoms! He slipped a tackle, but they got him! And that was...
Quarterback is shifty.
Yeah.
2-4.
That is number 24, Joshua Scales. He's listed at 192. That man is not 192 pounds.
Not the way he broke through
And
that
right there on
line.
that replay, you can see Earl Cameron blocked the wrong side of the line. the linebacker on the opposite side of the box blitzed, and that's why Scales was able to come in there as a free rusher. And he got the hesitation on Callahan, wasn't able to bring him down, but it cleared everything up enough for Scales to come in there and get the sack. So 4 drives, 4 turnovers, and no points. Defensive-minded football, to say the least.
Yes.
Mark Littlejohn still in at quarterback. He's thrown interceptions on his first 2 drives. So my immediate knowledge has not completed a pass. Has either team completed a pass? Or no, we did. Yeah, we had one to Kevin that went for about 12 yards.
Did you have one that was tipped, or was it that last one was just a good interception?
Yeah, Haney made a good play. Wyatt Rogers, still, he's had that one target, it was dropped. We got Jamaica Marcus, number 3, he's in at the Y spot.
Looks like some confusion.
Yeah, Mark making sure all of his troops are aligned.
Yeah, as well, as long as there's no clock.
Yeah, and Wyatt will be the man in motion. He's going to loop to the opposite side of the field. He'll likely be the primary receiver here. And they really bail. Well, John looks to go deep, but he is under significant pressure. He gets hit, and he got like a yard. He's a shifty quarterback, and he's got long strides. But again,
they got to stop that rush, or they're going to be in trouble.
And that was the theme last week, too. Just an inability to stop the pass rush. I think like 2nd and 9.
Yeah, this is 2nd.
Yeah, I think he got like a yard. We need to start keeping track of this on paper. You know, I don't think I ever really appreciated until now just how much referees do in a game.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it at least makes our lives significantly easier. Well, John, the offense huddling up to prevent any confusion. Going to be somewhere around 2nd and 9. Littlejohn in the shotgun. Ricky McKinney, the fullback. Could be a trick play because McKinney is the 2nd quarterback on this roster. We'll see him in at quarterback soon, I'm sure.
Well, he just blocked it.
And that one is tipped up in the air, almost intercepted. Antoine Legrune able to bat that one up a 2nd time, and nobody was able to corral it. Fortunately, it falls harmlessly to the ground, and it looks like Zachary Burkett, the 5'10 speedster, is going to check into the game. Kevin McClure also in at receiver. Littlejohn getting the play call from Sean Sanders and Mike Williams. And right now, I really think tight end screen would be great right here, especially on 3rd or 4th and 9 like this. I don't think they'd ever see it coming, but the Predators really need to focus on the short passing game right now because it's not necessarily get the defensive backs to cheat up. These receivers are good enough and tall enough to beat them one-on-one, but they've got to get them to cheat up because they're playing 10 and 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. And you got to get Littlejohn in a rhythm, too. He is definitely a rhythm passer.
Got some blocking now. He's got a pass. He's
got
a
man
man.
Deep. Caught, no, dropped! Zachary Burkett had to go airborne and couldn't haul it in. He was behind the defense.
Had it in his arms. That needed to be caught.
And to think he beat Rochelle Peebles on that one, too. That is a real testament to his speed. Because anybody that's faster than Rochelle is probably a couple of tenths of a second away from being faster than Usain Bolt. Rochelle is lightning in a bottle. 4th and 9 coming up for the Predators. The one positive play has been a 1-yard rush by Littlejohn on a broken play.
Littlejohn back.
Rogers not in at receiver.
He
it's
did
Burkett, Marcus, and McClure. 4th and 9. Littlejohn going to throw for McClure. He's got it.
Man.
Past the 25, past the imaginary sticks for a 1st down. Legrune's not happy about it, but Lord knows we in the booth are. So Littlejohn definitely getting into some semblance of a rhythm. Again, there was that drop on the 2 plays ago, but it was an accurate pass. That one was a very accurate pass to McClure. Past the sticks, a smartly run route by him too. Predators looking good so far, but I wish I had some wood to knock on because we have jinxed things up here before. Littlejohn making sure they've got the play right. Isaac Mueller's in at receiver. He's in the slot too, going in motion. This is going to be exciting. He's a bruiser.
Littlejohn in the gun. Is that McKinney?
That's Sessoms.
Yeah.
Speed option.
He's got it. He's got it.
Sessoms is a bulldozer. And I think he broke about 3 tackles, but broke not be the right word. I think he just ran through about 3 people on that one, and a good pitch by Littlejohn. Classic speed option stuff. You watch Georgia Tech football, I'm sure you're very familiar with that play. Just a quick option pitch out. Quarterback can either keep it or pitch it to the running back, whichever the defense allows. They allowed Sessoms to get free. Littlejohn made the right read, and he got him 5 yards, though. The Cowboys had that one stopped around the line of scrimmage, and then Sessoms just kept on driving those legs and was able to get some nice yardage. 2nd and 6 for the Predators.
McKinney back in.
Yep. You know, it makes you wonder how they're subbing guys so quick.
Yeah.
Because the Predators are all the way over there. Littlejohn, this is a fake play, I can already tell you. Oh, no, he's going back. I figured they were going to snap it to McKinney while Littlejohn was making an adjustment.
Well, he's going to hand off to McKinney.
Yeah, that was late. They were able to penetrate.
Yeah.
Nobody on the same page there. A rough and tumble play. I think they're going to lose about 3. We'll call it 3rd and 12. Burkett's going to check back into the game, which means Mueller's coming out. Again, the Predators have been doing well on this drive. It's been up and down, but they have had success. And again, their biggest weapon so far has been Kevin McLaurin, and he's matched up. That's number 2. I can't tell you who it is, but he looks to be a pretty big defensive back, though they're giving him a lot of cushion. If it's not called already, I'd hot route him to just a quick screen, trying to set up an easy 4th down. Littlejohn thought about it. He's going to have to throw this ball away. It's batted down by number 2. Now it's number 12, who was taking snaps at quarterback in warm-ups, and it's going to bring up 4th down. Littlejohn trying to explain what happened there to Sanders, though. It was pretty simple. Just protection broke down. He had Sessoms open to begin with, but he didn't have time to set his feet. Wasn't able to throw it. The ball came out late, was able to be batted away, and they're calling that 4th down. So a turnover there for the Predators. And I think this whole swapping of the field thing is part of this being a controlled scrimmage and not an actual game.
Right.
Because they're going to spot the ball at the 8 now.
Yeah, technically we're inside what would be 1 minute.
Yeah.
I think if the Predators get the ball back, they need to, or when they get it back, they need to try some trick plays.
I don't know if trick plays is the best idea because the line ain't holding up. They need to, I mean, you can definitely call a tight end screen a trick play, and that's the perfect way to slow down a pass rush, but it has not been called yet. Perhaps they're saving it for a better time. Callahan, no, this is Hunter Roach in at quarterback. Callahan nowhere on the field. Interesting coaching decision. I guess it's because it's a scrimmage. They want to get reps for everyone. Roach more of a pocket passer, though he has played receiver in the past. Played with them through last year, to my knowledge,
Roach
as well.
holds on to the ball a lot.
Yeah, he does take a while, but he gets it out quick there. Intercepted! Mark Granville second in the game, and he's going to go. Roach is the last man to beat, and it's a pick six. First points of the game scored by the Predators defense. And with Sean Sanders in it, Coach, I don't think we could have expected anything else.
Yes.
Predators go up. Are they going to call it 7-0, or do you think they're going to make them go for 2?
I don't know.
So Mark Granville's second interception of the game. So far, even though this is a scrimmage, it has been a highlight factory for both defenses. Yeah. So the Predators, until further notice, up 6-0.
That's it. Roach didn't show me much in warm-ups, but they had 4 hours of warm-ups.
Yeah. Yeah. Just makes you wonder why Callahan wasn't in at quarterback. He wasn't even in at receiver. He must have gotten hurt, which you hate to see at any point in time, but especially.
I don't know what we're calling that.
Roach on the
it was a pick six because the Cowboys have the ball back. Oh, yeah. So, and a big truck there. Who is this man? He's not human, I can tell you that much. Yeah. Let's see if anybody's listed as a running back. The only one I can make an argument that could be is Cam Cameron. But I'm pretty sure Cam Cameron's wearing 42, and that was 24. But whoever it is, that was a big run. He's going to want that one on his highlight reel, no doubt. And I tell you what, so far, again, Callahan not in the game at all. I think he had to have hurt something, which you hate to see in any game, but especially in a scrimmage like this. Yeah. It's just terrible to see. But so far, the best thing for the Predators defense has been the Cowboys just throwing the ball in general. Not necessarily dropping back to pass. When the ball has left the quarterback's hands and traveled in the air, typically it's worked wonders for him.
I don't see Callahan on the sideline, do you?
Yeah, that's not a good sign. We only hope he's okay. 3 was open on that one. Intercepted by Mark Granville.
Junior again.
Oh, man, and he got hammered. But he hangs onto the ball, and I don't know how Roach didn't see it, but Donald Jones jammed 3 at the line. 3 was wide open down the sidelines, and he never saw him. And just telegraphed that one right to Mark Granville. He's thrown 2 passes. Mark Granville's caught both of them. How's that work? So, let's see who's in at quarterback on this drive. And I don't see a tall man out there. I think it's going to be Ricky McKinney. Donnie Bird's out there without his helmet, giving his guys some last-minute motivational adjustments. Again, I still don't see a quarterback. I think it's got to be Ricky.
Yeah, Mark would stand out.
Yeah,
plus his dreads.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark is over there with Mike, but there's 8 Predators in the huddle. Mark would make 9. Again, just be glad there's no play clock, because this would, I think we would have gotten 2 or 3 delay games by now. You know, I wonder how they're going to decide when the first quarter's over. Because we have no idea what's going on. All we know is 1st and 10 for the Predators, following an interception made by Mark Granville. And it is McKinney.
Yeah.
So for future reference, he's got red sleeves on, and he looks like Ricky. Red sleeves and black socks.
Yeah, Ricky will always wear black.
Fastening up his chin straps, ready for action. Let's see if Ricky can get anything done.
Pretty Ricky in the shotgun, waiting on the snap.
Man, that's offsides. We got a free play, but I don't know if they'll enforce it. Nobody's really trying. Oh, man, and Jamaica goes over the wall, but to no avail. And our cameraman missed it.
No, I think we got some of it.
Let's find out. It'd be one thing if he caught it, but I don't think anyone could have caught that pass. Risked his life going over the boards to get there. And we did catch it. Wow. Wow, he took a shot from nobody. Lil John ordering the troops. Ricky, nowhere to be found.
That's strange.
Yeah. Has this whole game not been strange, though? Is this true?
I told Bob that we earlier that I called AAL, still the slogan from CBS Big Brother, expect the unexpected.
And you tell me not to say crap over the live.
We got
McKinney's back in, I think.
Back in.
Little John's talking with Mike and Sean.
There he is.
Nice play. Oh, and McLaurin got hammered. Ball's loose. And this is going to be a scoop and score if Ricky can't catch him, though. Who could have blown a whistle? We don't have refs. Who's got a whistle?
Might have been their coach.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a heck of a tackle.
Yeah. Great hit there by the Predators, by the Cowboy secondary on Kevin McLaurin. Again, I love the play call there. Getting it short to McLaurin. That has been the bread and butter of this offense so far through the season. And let's check the replay because he was so close to the wall. I don't think we'll be able to tell if he was down, though.
I think they're going to call it
I
because
think the ball came out.
Cowboy defense is still out.
Yeah.
Good tackle. And it was a good tackle by Ricky down there.
Mm-hmm. think since this is a scrimmage, I want to get some new guys in there and see how they do. And Mark Littlejohn, there he is at the Y spot. Uncharted territory for him, but he's
wide open.
And, ooh. And Jamaica got hammered. That's all I can say on that one. Just a really good pass break up there by the Cowboys. Their secondary playing physical, which is not something I expected, to say the least. They've got a significant height disadvantage on a lot of fronts against a lot of these receivers, but they're playing up close and personal, and so far it's worked. And again, Littlejohn was able to get open. He was running a post over the middle of the field, but he got hit by the field corner and kind of knocked him off his mark. I think Ricky saw that, but didn't see him get open afterward and went to Russell, or Marcus.
Kenny throwing
going
deep. Got him.
Going to be picked. And it's number 2, second pick of the game. I don't know who this man is, but he's doing really good too. And again, we saw that exact same throw last week. A man open in the end zone on a post. Ricky just short hops it. And it's strange to see that happen because Ricky has the strongest arm I have ever seen in person. He has no issue pushing it down the field, though watching the replay, he did not have time to set his feet. The rush is coming in.
I think the receiver was on the trip where the map comes in.
I think Ricky throws more
That was way after the play, though.
on a level than height.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where he gets his speed from.
Yeah, Mark claims he can throw it further than Ricky can. He says he can't throw it harder, but he claims he can throw it further. And throwing on a line like that would probably explain it. But regardless of whatever caused that interception, the effect is the Cowboys offense coming out armed once more with Yeshai Callahan.
Yeah, Callahan's back in. So.
At quarterback, too. Linebackers, Chris Jones and Mitchell Harris, the two that spent most of training camp at those positions. Jones going to blitz, but he gets hit hard by the fullback. Going deep for Lowe, and somehow he caught it. Granville overplayed it. And Granville, I don't think, ever looked up for the ball, and if he did, he lost it in the lights because I think he never saw Lowe make that adjustment. It was a good throw. It wasn't a great throw by Callahan. Definitely short-hopped it some, but Lowe, a great adjustment there, able to cut off his route and make the catch right around the 4. And Granville at least never saw him make the adjustment, overplayed the ball, wound up in the end zone on that one, and it results in a big game. They're going to mark that one at the 1.
What do we got? Five interceptions in 1 quarter?
Yeah, something like that. Wow. Wow, that is a big hornet right there on our. There's a massive hornet on our camera case. No, don't flick it, it'll get mad.
Get mad at your end, not at mine.
And the hornet has been exterminated.
I got a hunch we're going to see Callahan.
Yeah, and I got a hunch Peter's going to come after us too for animal abuse after that hornet.
Yeah.
We hope not. Oh, fumbled snap! It's still loose, picked up by number 24, who's going to run this in. Touchdown! What? Well, I mean, this is the AAL.
That was not a wise play.
Yeah, but all it boils down to is that 24, whoever he may be, has thus far been impossible to tackle. So, again, no two-point conversion or anything that resembles an extra point attempt, so we're going to call it a tie at 6-6 right now. We don't know what quarter it is. We don't know exactly what the score is, but we do know there's been 5 interceptions in this game, and that now we're tied. But right here, on this first down, because the Cowboys, especially the momentum they're going to have now, I don't have any doubt in my mind that they're going to at least try to blitz here. So if you're going to hit them with the tight end screen, now is the time to do it.
They got 9 men in the field.
Well,
no.
And snap is low. Ricky corrals it. He's looking deep, and McLaurin wasn't ready for it. A little to the inside. He wasn't able to bring it in. Unfortunate turn of events there for the Predators, because that's the first time I'd already say that McLaurin's been open more than 5 yards down the field, which is a testament to his ability to be able to get open at both levels like that. We haven't seen him go deep much, which is kind of interesting given his size. But McKinney just a little too far to the inside. Horizontal accuracy has been a struggle for him so far this year. Isaac Mueller checks in at receiver. Jamaica Marcus also in at that X position.
McKinney had shotgun.
Cowboys jumped that one, I think.
He's got his man.
It's Mueller!
Checked in just in time.
Yeah, and a great play there again, focusing on the quick passing game to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands before the pass rush can get to him. I like it. And it's picking up, well, needless to say, it's picking up a lot more yards than it usually does at this in any arena game. Usually when you're throwing hitches like that, you'll get 3-4 yards, and we're hitting them for 12 and 15. Makes you wonder why we're bothering with going deep at all.
Yeah.
Because I think 2 of those 3 interceptions thrown by the quarterbacks have come on passes that were more than 10 yards downfield.
And he sends his man in motion.
Because they have to pick up on that. Russell's open, batted up, and
thrown into a crowd.
Yeah, I think Mueller batted that one up, which, I mean, you always want to bat it down, but it looked like Marcus had a chance. I don't think he did. The ball probably looked like it was a lot closer to him than it was, but yeah, looking at the replay, I think Mueller was closer to it than Marcus was. But it's going to bring up 3rd and something. There, this is, wait a second. We had Mueller catch the first down. That was, this is 2nd down, isn't it? Mueller in motion in the slot. Cowboys really jumping these snaps.
Out. Got Sess.
That's
Sesson
wow.
just keeps.
And down goes the wall!
Sesson nails the wall from end zone to end zone.
That made that whole hour and a half pregame worth it, Bob. He's a big man, 5'11", 265. I think he's more than that, but right here, see you later. I mean, that's one play to get a guy out of bounds. And Jackson pan over. Look at the wall over there. Wow. Heave on 3. Yes. Got a heave on 3, and that is Quan Bristol wearing number 2. Usually he wears 5, but Rochelle's wearing 5. That's why he's wearing number 2.
Okay.
So Quan Bristol's got 2 right now. And out come the Cowboys. The Predators look like they're getting one side. The edges, Cowboys going to get the middle. So, I mean, where else are you going to see this, Bob?
I've never seen the whole wall go that.
I mean, you would have been alive when they knocked down the Berlin Wall, right?
That's not funny.
That might have been the last time we saw one go down. I've never seen it in person, though. But it was a sight to behold. I mean, it doesn't matter that that was a 5-yard run. It doesn't matter that yardage-wise and down-wise, it didn't mean much, but that is going on as highlight reel, because how many fullbacks can say, yeah, I played arena one time, I ran into the wall, I knocked it down. I don't think anybody can say that. And now that the Cowboys have their helmets off, I can get a look at some of these people. 19 is Shaq Mack, who has not been on the field at all to my immediate knowledge. I can't tell you who number 3 is, and I can't tell you who 12 is, but I don't think we knew 12 to begin with. Jared Holbrook's wearing number 6. Robert Lowe wearing number 9. And, you know, if this happened anywhere else, would it'd have to be an official's timeout, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, for once, we get a break between snaps that wouldn't result in a delay of game.
I don't know where they're placing the ball. Unless it's
I think he was around the 25.
We can watch the replay.
Yeah, we can find out. For those of you who missed it the first 2 times, here he goes. And I mean, it was a really good play by Littlejohn. That defensive end crashed in on him, left Sessoms open. He was able to pitch it out to him. And yeah,
22.5.
yeah, I'll call that 23. So into Cowboys territory now. Predators looking to go up. We'll call it by a touchdown because we're still not totally sure on the score. So for all the drama and chaos that led up to this game, I think it's really good that this is a scrimmage and won't count towards either team's record. And I think that it's really good that we're getting to see these guys play a lot looser than they normally would, you know?
I think it should.
There's no way it could be halftime. It could be the end of the first quarter. But I mean, we started at like 8:30, didn't we? A half wouldn't go by in 40 minutes. I hope it's not halftime. This has been pretty fun. Well, no, there's no way it could be halftime because why would they have run it from the 20 from their own 22?
Yeah.
If it was the last play of the half, why would they have run it? I mean, say what you will about option pitches, you're not going to score on them, especially if you're running them to the short side of the field. Okay, we can get a look at 24. He's got his helmet up, but I still can't tell who it is. I think that might be Earl Cameron, and that we've got 42's name wrong. No, I don't think that's Earl Cameron. I think 42 is Earl Cameron. I don't know who 24 is. He will forever live on in infamy as Joss Doster II, the unstoppable running back from the last 2 weeks ago. And now we have small children coming out on the field, so I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to run down with the players while we're taking a break and see what's up, because I don't know. There's no way this is halftime. We have not played long enough for that to be halftime, and if it was the last play of the half, they would have thrown. So I will be back shortly.
Hey, I know this group here, Bob, has waited as long as we have to
Yeah, because they were.
do their performance. They've been working hard. Exciting to see what they've got to do.
Okay, remember what I told you. Get on the bus, let us in. Get up in there.
Been interesting.
I pulled up y'all's YouTube channel so I can know what the hell's going on. Just to get some idea. I guess if it's using their own clock or whatever, there's no way they play a half of football.
No, you wouldn't think. Maybe a quarter, but
I don't know.
especially if the clock was running to turnover. What was it? 5 turnovers?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of them. I tell you, when that came down, I'm just glad there were no kids back behind that.
Yes.
I need some more of those totes securing it.
Yeah, I think they put them all, majority of them in the end zone. Yeah, let's try a second. Yeah, according to this, they're showing Sean as head coach, or just as coach, only coach. Now we got cheerleaders coming back.
All right, I was down there for like 10 minutes, and I can sum up the plan from here on out in 3 words. Complete some passes.
Yeah.
Wherever they happen to come, complete them. And I've also received word from head coach Mike Williams that this, for lack of a better word, this game will go on until they decide they don't want it to go on anymore.
So this is halftime?
I ain't got a clue. This could... Yeah, so we can check out our keys to the game. For the Predators on offense, which this has not worked out for them so far, you can't have any offensive line breakdowns. And so far it's been the bull rush up the middle that has killed them through 2 games right now. And the quarterbacks are having to run for their lives back there in the pocket. And when you're doing that, you can barely complete short passes, and you definitely can't complete deep ones. And these Cowboys linebackers are disciplined enough not to go after the quarterback when he rolls out, so when he tries to turn it upfield, he can't go anywhere. And then the big receivers against Carolina's smaller secondary, that's worked out pretty well too. Kevin McLaurin has been the guy matched up against Quan Bristol for most of this game, and he's had a good many receptions on him. McLaurin's listed at 6'3", 245. Bristol is somewhere around 5'10".
Quan ain't been
Yeah.
6'3".
Yeah, Quan is somewhere around 5'10", 200. So definitely a big advantage there for McLaurin, but he has not gone deep to my immediate knowledge in this game, and even if he did, the offensive line hasn't given him much time to do it. So, if anything, they've got to figure out this pass protection situation. I don't know if it involves changing who's on the line. I don't know if it involves... Oh no, please don't let this be it. We're tied. Don't shake hands. And I don't know how we didn't think of it. You know who 24 is, Bob? Kennebrew. Bobby Kennebrew. Yeah, I don't know how we didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I guess he looked bigger in pads than I thought he would, but 24 has been the man terrorizing the Predators defense on the ground thus far. Bobby Kennebrew. One of the guys wouldn't play last year.
I think this
no.
is a picture. I think they have it in pictures. I don't think this is.
Yeah, that might just be a picture.
Oh, come on. Man, pictures ain't a good sign. Pictures for after the game.
Why would they have waited the whole halftime?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I don't think either team has had enough practice.
Yeah,
They both need some practice.
definitely. I mean, 6-6 over.
They still got people stretching out.
Surely they'll keep playing.
Well, we still got players on the field. So.
Okay, Frankie Littlejohn took his helmet off and he's putting it back on. The Predators' defense appears to be on the field. That's a good sign. Isaac Mueller's going to go in at linebacker if we resume play. I mean, I suppose Kelvin knocking the wall down would have been a really good note to end it on.
Yeah, just
but
left it down.
It was just way too early. And it does appear that they will at least attempt to resume play. Or maybe they're tricking us, who knows. But I mean, we went down there and we were talking about a lot of adjustments to make. I mean, we at least have game planned to play on. The Cowboys, I don't know. I mean, we got down there and we couldn't even figure out how many times they scored. I think it's only, I'm pretty sure it's only one. We've got 6-6 up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I'm glad this one is a scrimmage because both teams, they definitely need to practice. And the Predators defense does look to take the field. Isaac Mueller, I told him in there because he was right there with me, and I said, biggest adjustment we have to make is spying that quarterback and not letting him break tackles and juke people.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the stats, which there are none right now, but if you look at the way the game has flowed, if the Predators are able to stop Yeshai Callahan, they stop the entire Cowboys offense.
Yeah.
Because head-scratchingly, Bobby Kennebrew isn't out there right now. It's Earl Cameron, I think. I know. Who's 43? He's new. And starting on the 1? What? I guess they wanted some practice starting from here. Free rusher. Free rusher. This could be a safety. And it is. Friendly fire. Somebody got excited and shoved someone else down, and that was number 24, Kenneth Patton. And, I mean, this is just a great play. And they're able to stop Yeshai Callahan. They keep him in the pocket, for the most part anyway, and then stop him from running away. That was one of the keys that we covered in our de facto halftime, which, I mean, there ain't no telling. Since this game is going to go on until further notice. That could have been first quarter.
Sending it at the 1, so they won the safety.
Yeah.
That brings back memories.
Huh?
That brings back memories, no safety.
Oh, yeah, except they actually counted this one.
Safety still 2.
Yeah? So the unofficial score is 8-6 right now. The Predators' offense is going to come on the field. Ricky McKinney going to stay in at quarterback, though it looks like Littlejohn is coming in at receiver. One of them is going to go in at receiver. There's only one can be the quarterback. And Ricky is in at receiver. Littlejohn's going to go in motion. Or no, Ricky's in at quarterback, my mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know how I screwed that up. So here we go. Kevin McLaurin versus Columbus is going to be the matchup to watch. Ricky on the run, rolling. He's got a man deep, and he's short up and knocked it in! Redemption for Thackeray Burkett. After the early drop, he's able to make up for it. Got behind number 34, Antoine Legrune, who is as physical a player as they come, but just isn't fast enough to keep up with Thackeray Burkett for what was 40 yards down the field. Excellent play and recognition by Ricky. And great job of him not taking off after he got flushed out of the pocket. He kept his eyes downfield and was able to find the open receiver, which is Burkett streaking behind the defense for the second time tonight. And for the second time, it came down that left sideline.
Back in the old days, Ricky would have run it.
Yeah.
And he put some height on the ball. And that's what did it.
Yeah, he didn't leave that one short.
And so the Predators once more take the lead with their first offensive touchdown following the safety. I'm still trying to figure out why they would have spotted the ball on the 1 yard line there, because, I mean, well, you know, that had to be halftime because it wasn't a turnover on downs when Kelvin ran into the wall. So they would have had to come out and say it was halftime and say they wanted the ball at the 1.
They called the dancing kids halftime.
Well, that's not a good sign because it means we got like 30 minutes left. I don't want to go. This is fun.
Callahan
rolling out again. Got a man wide open over the middle. Somehow corralled and caught by number 21. Awesome awareness to hang on to that ball.
Nice pitch.
It was a good kick.
Yeah, great focus catching. When that ball left Callahan's hands, I thought it was wide and to the right, and he was able to make an adjustment. It was a little high, and I don't know how he hung on to it after that. Just incredible focus on his part.
Came under too much.
It was probably some kind of zone coverage if we can get the replay there. Yeah, let's see. Because usually when a guy gets open over the middle like that, they're in a zone and he runs out of the zone. And I don't know if that was a zone or not, but whoever was covering him just got beat by a really good route. Yeah, it was Mark Granville. Dude just ran an awesome route and shook Granville. That was all that happened there. Callahan going deep. Underthrown, knocked away.
Could have been picked.
Yeah, Mark Granville almost had his third one. And ball was late. If he'd thrown it a little bit earlier, I think he could have had it, but That's one of the things rookie quarterbacks struggle with when you get indoors, field compression, because, you know, outdoors you're told just lob it up as far as you can, let the receiver catch it, but you can't lob it up too far outside because, you know, that ball is spotted at the 20. You only have 30 yards for the dude standing in the end zone, and if that ball's out early, you can see on that replay, probably gets that man behind the defense, hits him in stride for a touchdown, but instead hesitates for just that extra half second, isn't able to make the completion, and brings up 2nd and 10.
Back quarterback in the shotgun.
Isaac Mueller and Mitchell Harris, the linebackers.
Man's in motion, number 4.
It's a handoff, and they were ready for it that time.
Oh, they were.
And it's not Bobby Kennebrew, that's Earl Cameron, and they took him down behind the line. We'll call it 3rd and 12. Sean Sanders getting excited like he always does. Mitchell Harris and the defensive end combining for that one.
Is he saying let's eat?
Yeah.
All right, no telling what Sean's saying. And now the Predators pumped up after that big loss. It's a big 3rd down coming up, too.
Well, they've opened this half matching the physicality, which is what they comes with a little confidence, a little momentum, a lot of coaching, putting them in the right place.
Yeah. And they're trying to figure out the spotting situation. They spotted the ball, needless to say, pretty generously, and Donnie Bird's out there protesting that. Sean doesn't care. He just wants his defense to go out there because they got a lot of momentum. And I'm sure he wants them to snap this ball before they forget about that last play.
I can watch the replay.
Yeah, we can watch it over and over.
I'll show you what that.
Number 3 going to loop in motion. He's dangerous deep.
Yes. That's who he's looking for.
He thought about it. That one almost intercepted, but way too far to the inside. And I don't think that was a miscommunication. I think Callahan just tried to make an adjustment on that ball, and the receiver either wasn't ready for it. It was too far gone on the streak to notice.
Let's see the previous replay to see what the spot should have been.
Yeah, let's find out.
Tell you what, the Predators are showing some defense.
Yeah.
They've made some adjustments.
Yeah, and now the Predators.
It should have been the 10.
Yeah.
And they ended up putting it.
And the Predators' offense appears to be coming out now. No, their defense is still there. I think the Cowboys are just gearing up for 4th down. That's all. Maybe trying to figure out the spotting situation. Maybe not. But Sanders.
Now the ball's back at the.
No, now Ricky's on the. Yeah, they're calling that a turnover on downs, but it was 3rd down. We playing by Canadian rules? I mean, can we send all the receivers in motion now? That'd be pretty cool. Looks like Little John standing back there with Mike. McKinney's going to be in the quarterback position. Ball's going to be spotted at the 9-yard line. The Predators coming off a really, really big momentum-shifting touchdown to Thackeray Burkett down the left sideline. It was a 40-yard pass, and McKinney just dropped a dime to him. Okay, I think Donnie Bird is officially on ball spotting duties. And somehow he's marching this thing out to the 20. I guess because this is a scrimmage, and technically we're not even supposed to be scoring it, I think the coaches are just spotting the ball wherever they want practice. But, you know, when you wait 3 years to play a game like this, and you've got the opportunity to spot the ball wherever you want, I don't know why you don't make them spot it at the 1-yard line of the opponent's territory and just run it on in, but that's none of my business. Needless to say, though, the Predators with favorable territory. If any of you are just now joining us, so much has happened that I really don't even think there's a point in explaining it. All you really need to know is that this is a scrimmage that is officially unscored, unofficiated, and will not count toward either team's record, while the Predators lead 14-6.
Kenny, quarterback. Donnie Bird. And
there's the tight end screen!
Yes!
Finally, and Bingham fumbled it!
Okay.
Oh. Just a great strip of defensive play there, but Ricky's trying to stay out there. I don't know how you could possibly make an argument that Bingham was down. But somehow the Predators' offense is staying on the field.
We recovered the fumble.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we recovered it.
Oh, wow.
About the 6-yard line.
So, needless to say, I don't know if Bingham will go out on a tight end screen again, but it worked to perfection because now on paper, it should, that Cowboys pass rush should slow down a little bit in case Bingham tries to break free again. Because as soon as Bingham breaks free, the defensive ends can travel upfield with him. The problem is that, you know, when they throw the ball, the defensive ends are usually all the way in the backfield like they were on that last play. Because on the replay, you could see there were 3 people in Ricky's face when he threw that ball.
Yeah.
Which the math doesn't add up. It really should have only been 1 because 1 guy went free. But, I mean, it was a 15-yard catch and a fumble recovery for the Predators. I'll take that any day of the week. First and goal.
McKinney back, looks,
Shot
throws.
to the end zone, dropped by Burkett. He is not a traffic receiver, unfortunately, and I think if that had been Mueller, he would have caught it.
And he was down on his knees when he...
He was threading the needle with it. He got it through there.
That's where you see that throw power from Ricky. If he was playing Madden, he'd have, like, I'd liable to say at least a 95 for throw power. He has got a cannon for an arm. And his accuracy has gotten way better just through this game, too.
That ball should have been.
But again, like I said, if that was Mueller, he probably would have caught it. And Burkett's definitely more of a sideline receiver.
Is Sessoms out there? He said, I'd run him.
No, Donnie Bird's out there.
Oh, that's it.
I think Sessoms is still basking in the glory of the fact that he knocked the ball down. I told him his nickname's Ronald Reagan now. And I tell you what, I will do everything in my power to make sure that name sticks.
Kenny looks, rolls
He's
left.
got a lane, but he's looking at the end zone, and it's intercepted. And I don't know. I think you can make an argument that's a safety. They'll probably spot that at the 1, but he started going backwards. No, I mean, he had somebody open in the back of the end zone. Just got to put more air under that ball. And, I mean, if he'd had a clean pocket and was able to set his feet, there ain't no question that would have been a touchdown. But all in all, it wasn't so much a bad play by Ricky as it was a great play by number 55 because he's a big man, but he got a pretty nice jump on that ball. And
he ain't letting go of it,
yeah, and that is the 4th interception thrown by the Predators today. And I think he put enough air under it, too. Ricky didn't lead the receiver far enough to the left-hand side. No, he was looking right at him. But at least the Predators got something out of the way. I've been saying it all season. They got to try the tight end screen at least once.
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean, it had its problems because Bingham fumbled the ball. And that's been another thing, too, I've noticed. The Predators, they've been apt to keep on grinding for extra yards. And that's what defenses want you to do, because when you grind for extra yards like that, you get more focused on picking up that first down or getting that extra couple of feet, and you kind of forget about protecting the football, and a lot of issues arise from that. And I think, again, it's good that this is a scrimmage, because they need to learn that in situations like that, you need to just give up and go down. Cut your losses, because, I mean, when they've done that, more often than not, they've been past the first down marker anyway, you know? There hasn't been much to gain.
Callahan back to quarterback.
Yeah, looks like Lowe's going to go in motion here in the slot. So handoff to Kennebrew. They've had trouble tackling him. No trouble there, though. It took 3 guys, but they got him. And if that's how you got to stop him, it works. I don't have a problem with it. Both sidelines pretty fired up after that play. Going to be about 2nd and 7. And Kelvin Sessom's in at linebacker or defensive line now, one of the two. Looks like he's in at end. We haven't seen much of Wyatt Rogers. I think he's going to rest up that hamstring for 1 more week.
Hope so.
Yeah, he's got his helmet off. But so far, I mean, both defenses just showing out. As is to be expected when Sean Sanders makes an appearance.
Callahan,
and they had the penetration, but I think that was Granville. Just got too far in the backfield, and Earl Cameron trucking guys. And that was number 24, Kenneth Pat. No, 42 had the carry. 24 was the one in the backfield, and you watch the replay. I mean, he had all the penetration in the world, but he got too deep in the backfield. He was keyed in on getting Callahan. And when he saw him hand it off, he was too far behind him.
5 broke tackles easy.
Yeah, these Cowboys running backs, they are forces to be reckoned with so far. And right when we talk about the defense is doing good, too.
Now where the hell is he going with that ball?
I don't think he got that far. Let's find out. He got pretty far. I don't think he got to the 25, but I don't know. Maybe he did. 10, 15. He didn't get to the 25. He got to the 18.
18.
What are they doing?
18. I don't know how he got to 25.
Guess they got an okay to.
We'll call it AAL logic. Is that Mark Littlejohn's in at DB? What? And it's a dump off to number 42 again. Another big one. He got 10 yards on that. The Cowboys inching closer to that goal line, threatening to counteract the Predators' late touchdown with a score of their own.
Hell, they might move it down to the 5.
You never know. Yeah, I wish I could have gone down on the field before the game and put on a business suit and just gone, this is the AAL. Like Vince McMahon, right before that first XFL game back in 2000. Mark Littlejohn's still in that DB spot. I mean, I like experimentation. It's either going to work or it's not. I don't like him pressing, though. He doesn't have a size
away
advantage.
from him, though.
Yeah.
Callahan looks. He's got time.
Man, Littlejohn's got
Being
blanket
rushed.
coverage. Are you kidding me?
Mark
What?
Littlejohn.
The quarterback has an interception. I tell you what, that is going to be, to say the least, a confusing addition to Littlejohn's highlight reel. I know. And look at this coverage, too. I mean, Littlejohn had the guy blanketed. I mean, like I said, it was either going to work or it wasn't, and it worked to perfection there.
They bend, but they do not break.
Exactly. Littlejohn looks like he's got the hot hand. It'll be interesting to see if they put him in at quarterback now. It'd make logical sense, but at the same time, I think he's wanting to get Ricky more reps.
What all has he played so far? Quarterback,
quarterback, DB, and receiver, yeah.
Has he played any linebacker?
No, but he blocked the kick in the last one, but he got called offsides with an illegal rush. Because you can't run forward at the time of the snap, and he ran forward, but he's blocked the kick.
I think they're calling it.
Oh, no.
Maybe, because they're shaking hands.
No, man. This one was getting good, too. Dang it. And that is the PA guy officially calling this one, so it's not going to count towards anybody's records, but to our immediate knowledge, the Predators won by a touchdown and a safety. What we've got is 14-6. It could be 16-7. It could be a lot of things. We don't know, but I think there's going to be a lot of things we won't know about this game. A lot of things. But that might be for the best. Next week, the Carolina Predators will head to Athens, Georgia to take on the Peach State Cats. Will be looking for their second win in franchise history and their second consecutive win as a football team. They beat the Carolina Cowboys 2 weeks ago and will go up against the Carolina Predators in 7 days. Until then, I'm Luke Ruff, joined by my co-hosts Bob Fitzpatrick and Daniel Ruff, saying so long from T. Ed Garrison Arena.
We will see you next week.